Guys, I'm Steven with Aquatic Pools. Common question we get for swimming pools in Florida here is how do I pick what kind of deck I want for my swimming pool? Well, here we're here to answer the question of what deck is best for you. So there are three common forms of decking with swimming pools in Florida. First is concrete. This is a small sample. Spray knockdown texture is a normal texture. Second is pavers. So pavers come in many forms of color, many shapes, many patterns. And then third is stone decks such as travertine. Now the first, which is the most common, is concrete. So common thing with decks, which is a big thing, is how hot do they get. So we ran a little experiment. We left one of each out in our parking lot for 3 hours. Concrete came in at 113 degrees. Now it is August. We're in Central Florida. It is hot out. So concrete 113 degrees. Travertine 111. Pavers 124. Artificial turf, which is getting common in Florida, 166 degrees. Holy smokes, that is hot. So I don't know if you guys have gone anywhere with turf outside. Love it, looks great, but it is hot. And I've had all kinds of manufacturers try to sell us on different types of turf that are supposed to not be hot. From my experience, I've not, seen any that are not hot. So travertine being the clear winner. So if heat is your number one reason why what you're picking is what you're picking, travertine is going to be your guy. It stays super cool, guys. So the second thing is slip factor. So let's talk about slip factor. Concrete probably being your most textured form of decking, so that's going to be your least, or your most slip resistant. Pavers being second. Pavers are very slip resistant. Travertine. Travertine's weird. It really looks cool and it really looks smooth, but it's not slippery. Surprisingly, you'd think it would be. It's very fine. It's very smooth, but for some reason, and I've experienced this many times, you go out with bare feet that are wet, it's not slippery. So as far as slip resistant, I think all three of these are pretty good, safe for kids. Again, if heat's your factor, go with travertine or concrete. Those are going to be your two coolest forms of deck. Let's talk about price. So concrete comes in with our most economical decking, usually about $10, $11 square foot. That's forming, pouring, texturing, and then staining the concrete. Usually about $10, $11 square feet, depending on what you guys do. Pavers being the second. Pavers are usually about the same as concrete. You just got more to pay for. So you got to do the coping on the pool, which is going to be added cost. So, pavers are normally $8 to $12 square foot, somewhere in there. But when it comes all together, pavers are going to be a little bit more in concrete because there's more things to pay for. You got to put the deck drains in. You got to do the coping. You got to put the proper base under it. You got to get a termite pre-treat. You got to have all the bonding grids under this. So pavers being your little bit more, usually out the door, $13, $14, $15 square foot for pavers. Travertine, guys, going to start around $15 square foot and go up. You can have slate, you can have, there's shell lock, there is, all kinds of different stones in the in the stone, paver selection. These can get up in the 20s real fast. You can get to high 20s. You get a large format travertine, which are 48 by 48 inch pieces. I mean, that can go up to $30, $40, $50 a square foot. So very expensive travertine. I mean, you can do it economically. I'm just telling you, you can get real expensive in the travertine. So usually travertine is considered a high-end form of decking. Again, it stays cool on your feet like terrazzo in a house. That's how I would explain it. It usually stays cool to the touch. So travertine is a very good form of decking. Can't beat the looks, guys, too. As far as travertine goes, the looks are, par none. If you're a young family and you're just looking to get a standard swimming pool, concrete's definitely your guy. There's two things that you can guarantee concrete's going to do: get hard and crack. That's the old saying. So, we cut a ton of expansion joints in our concrete. We put footings on the outside, so the footings are 12 inches deep, got rebar going through them. We try everything, guys, but we live in Florida. You got to be realistic. You're going to get a hairline crack in these decks. You know, we're not talking right now. You're talking 10 years down the road or so, but it's going to happen. Pavers don't age well. You know, that's another thing to consider is you know, the longevity of the deck. You know, pavers tend to settle. They tend to grow mold in the inside. You know, and you're asking what's the difference between pavers and travertine. Well, pavers have like a pillow top to them. So if you look at them, the edges, they have bigger seams right here. They actually have a spacer. I don't know if you can see that right there, that holds the pavers apart, and they have like a pillow top, so they're round coming in the corners. So they create big joints. You know, these big joints can, you know, hold mold. They get black marks in them. They get all kinds of stuff in them. So pavers don't really age well in my mind. Travertine's perfectly square, if you can see that. So travertine butts up super tight, meaning the joints aren't as big as pavers. So travertine, you know, the joints aren't meant to, you know, hold sand like pavers. And the whole point of that, you know, the spacer in the pavers is to put sand, is to push them apart so they get real tight, so they don't wobble. You know, so that's the point of sand. Travertine, you know, it shouldn't wobble because it's usually a larger format. You know, and it's all about the base underneath it. But you know, that's something to consider, guys, is the longevity of the deck. So longevity, concrete, and travertine definitely win the show. You know, price-wise, concrete wins the show. Temperature-wise, travertine, concrete definitely win the show. Pavers is out the door. So, you know, if you ask what our favorite deck is, concrete all day long. You know, we love concrete. Concrete's just tried and true. Cannot beat it. If you want an upgrade, travertine being your second choice. You know, you can't beat the looks of travertine. So, you know, if I were doing a pool, you know, my personal pool, either concrete or travertine, depending on how much I want to spend. So, guys, thanks for listening to me. Again, I'm Steven with Aquatic Pools. I'm a pool builder in Central Florida here. Been doing it my entire life. If you got any questions, give us a call. We'll be more than happy to come out and take a look at what you got or talk to you over the phone. Thank you and have a great day.